Surprisingly enough, this was not produced by Neon. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today, our movie in the middle is Gunpowder Milkshake. God, that's just such an awesome fucking title. Gunpowder Milkshake stars Karen Gillan, Lena Headey, Paul Giammatti, Angela Bassett, Carla Gugino, and that actor that you go, hey, it's that guy from Harry Potter and Game of Thrones. Or The Witch, depending on who you are. This movie is about a trained assassin who recruits her mother, who is also an assassin, to save the life of an 8-year-old girl, 8 3/4, from a group of vengeful murderers. For as star-packed as this movie is, and for how badass it looks, I'm surprised there wasn't as much promotion because honestly, if I hadn't just come across the trailer one day on Facebook, I wouldn't have even known that this movie existed. And that would have been really sad because this is a really fun and awesome movie. If you've seen the trailer or know anything about it, or even just heard the title, you can probably tell it's one of those really off-the-wall, wild action movies, and you would be right. This is an insane movie. It's one of those that's like really awesome action and fighting mixed with incredible style and lighting and aesthetic. It's basically, like Guns Akimbo and Suicide Squad and Kingsman and Bad Times at El Royale. It's got all of those kind of styles in it, and actually quite literally takes apart from Guns Akimbo and puts it in this movie. I won't say obviously how, but it kind of literally takes some inspiration there. And so really, it's kind of that same aesthetic that we've been seeing in the last, I guess, almost decade now that's been coming up that's really awesome. It's just badass, awesome fighting and choreography and really cool ideas, but putting them in a tone that's like fun and wild and color and, you know what I mean? All that weird style. Like even Scott Pilgrim, it's got all this interesting style to it. And that's the biggest high of this movie by far, is it's just awesome. Tonally, aesthetically, like cinematography, choreography, all of it is just so cool. It's got so many new fight, moves that I've never seen that made me go, ugh. It's got a lot of these really interesting ways that it shoots things, like they have a lot of interesting camera choices and styles and the way that they edit things, and it's just very quick and it's just really fun. It also has a lot of really cool ideas when it comes to the plot or when it comes to just things in general that they have as assassins. Like my favorite thing out of this whole movie, they have this library that's not a library. It's one of those whole undercover, like, can we show you Charles Dickens? And Charles Dickens' book happens to be a grenade. It's one of those things, how you like in movies and TV shows, you see how they hide like weapons in a book, like, cut out. It's that, but like the whole library. And there'll be like different sections or different weapons. And it's super awesome. It just goes to show you, bookstores are fucking awesome. I do have a middle element here, and that is the acting, because, how do I put this? It doesn't quite feel like 90% of the characters in this movie are completely human. And it works and it doesn't. Because, like I said, it's very wild, it's very quirky, even for these kind of movies. So a lot of it feels like, I don't want to say caricatures, but when you're like a student filmmaker and you want to make these really awesome characters, so you're like, let's put on the hat, like make a noir movie or something. And so it's like they're playing characters, if that makes sense. They're really fun. But at the same time, it's also like, can I connect to any of these people, There's a little bit of it that you can connect to. There's really good relationships and everything. But even the main character, especially Karen Gillan's character, Sam. Well, you know how Nebula is always very...
Thanks, Dad. Sounds fair. As a child, my father would have Gamora and me battle one another in training. I would like to try again.
Like, it's that kind of thing. Like, she's very monotone, very one note a lot of this movie. Some of it she's not, but the thing is, that is her character. She was basically grown up to be an assassin. You'd get a little messed up there. And she's very just like, boom, 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 I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. But it just feels sometimes like she's a robot. And even then, like some of the other characters, like the ants that they call them, who run the library of guns, they act weird. Like, they're awesome. Don't get me wrong, they're badass. And that is definitely a high for this movie, is those characters. But they also here and there are just, there's just something off about most of the movie. And like I said, it is quirky and wild, but there's something where it's like, you're trying to do like Suicide Squad or Guns Akimbo. Luckily, you didn't do Suicide Squad, but it was something quite not there about the acting and about a lot of this movie, which gets into my lows, which the biggest one is there's a lot of aesthetic, a lot of flash, like I said before, but it's like they chose all of that over substance and story. It's like they were like, we want to make those movies that we've seen before, but they didn't have as much of a plot with it. And they actually promote in the trailer there to be more of a plot or even a character-based plot between this mother and daughter relationship. And the weirdest thing is that there actually seems to be more of a relationship between Sam, the main character, Karen Gillan's character, and the 8 3/4-year-old girl she's trying to save. And the only reason I say that is because even though Lena Headey has like second top billing, she's like not in this movie. Like she doesn't come in until 59 minutes into this hour and 50-minute movie. She's in it for like the beginning for like 2 hot seconds, and then she doesn't come back for a long time. And that's weird considering they were hyping up to be this like mother-daughter adventure where they were going to bond, and I don't know, it's just weird that they didn't bring her in until close to when the end fighting started happening. Then again, the fighting is like a 40-minute extravaganza. Like it is insane and it's awesome, and so she's basically there for all of the fighting. But it's just weird, like the character moments, the backstory, all of that felt like it was like it's all explained pretty well and everything. It just seems like there should have been more, you know, like Indiana Jones: Last Crusade, that was a parent son coming together, working out their issues, and even then, Sean Connery didn't show up till like 35 minutes into the movie, but it still felt like he had a lot more there. You know, it still felt like he actually was there for a lot of it. It didn't feel like Lena Headey was there for a lot of it because half of the movie's over before she even shows up, you know, present day. So yeah, it just felt like they had more aesthetic and flash and color in mind than they did actual story, which is okay, admittedly, because again, it is one of those fun, wild, I just want to see some shooting kind of movies. And so they had enough story. I just wish there was a little bit more. And where they did have story and the writing, the cheekiness of the writing, even though you're not supposed to take it too seriously, even for it being like, oh, this is fun and, you know, we're going to talk in code and stuff, it got to be a little much for me, especially towards the beginning. Just a little bit. It did feel, like I said before, like a student film where it's like we want to write some of those crime or noir or whatever types of movies where it's like they're talking in really fun lingo and everything. It was like, look what we can do with the camera. Look what we can do with the writing and the dialogue. But overall, that could just be me because, again, it is very fun. It is very wild. It has incredible fight scenes. This was a very entertaining movie. Paul Giamatti is amazing. I didn't even mention him, but he's amazing at everything he does. So, and all of the ants, all of the characters in this movie are just badass. They're awesome. It's so much fun. If you like anything in the way of Guns Akimbo or Suicide Squad or Bad Times at the El Royale, all those movies, you're going to like this because it was super fun. And it reminded me this simple fact. If I have to choose between having a whole army of assassins behind me or my badass mom, I'm going to go with my badass mom. Hug your mother tonight. She's a badass. You just don't know it yet. I'm going to give Gunpowder Milkshake a 3 out of 4. What did you guys think of Gunpowder Milkshake? I think you should watch it just for the title alone. I swear to God, it's awesome. Like Velvet Buzzsaw. I didn't actually really watch that movie. I got like 12 minutes in and got bored. But awesome title. And as always, keep your hopes high, your stress low, and books right in the middle. I'll see you guys later.